Hello, everybody. Grace and I have just returned from watching The Crow, the remake, well, I guess like reimagining of the beloved 90s hit starring Brandon Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad because this is not going to be the video I thought it was going to be.
I was about to say the exact same thing. I wanted to come in and I wanted to be like, man, this movie is just as bad as Morbius. It's so awful.
It sucks. What were they thinking? They'll never live up to the old one.
And I got to tell you, it just felt like a really cheesy 2000s movie, dude.
Yeah, it's just, you get about 30 minutes into it and then you're like, if I hate on this movie, there's no way I can love the old one. Because it's just as edgelordy. The only difference is now I'm 35 and I'm not 14.
Now,
because if I was 14,
you would love that.
I would love that movie.
For sure. Now, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be honest. If you're a fan of the original Crow movie, you are going to absolutely despise this movie.
If you grew up being edgelording and loving it, and if you were class of 02 to 07 and you had the baggy black jeans with the hanging off chains, no, you're not going to like it at all.
Or if you just happen to just be somebody who was like, hey, why is Sting dressed like this, and just watch the movie.
I know the perfect kind of audience that will be okay with this.
Who's that?
It's the people that played DMC when they changed Dante and were able to enjoy it objectively.
Okay.
The people that aren't going to be like, it's not Brandon Lee, to hell with him. I think it's the people that could just objectively enjoy it.
Okay.
So let's start from the beginning. You've got Skarsgård as Eric Draven, one of the most edgelord names ever. And he falls in love with a beautiful lady. Mm-hmm. They have a great time.
Yep.
They're both damaged people recovering in a rehab center. And she gets killed horribly.
Yeah.
Eric Draven, turns out he falls into limbo. Something's not right. You can save her and set things right by killing everybody involved in her murder, and then you guys will be resurrected and your souls will be saved from hell.
And the reason why that happens is because the main villain of the movie is able to make people basically kill themselves and get sent to hell.
Yes.
He says that the balance isn't right, so you have to be the one that goes and returns the balance.
There's an old man played by that guy who's a villain in everything. He's the bad guy in Yellowstone. He's the bad guy in the third Olympus Has Fallen, Angel Has Fallen.
That's what I remembered him from.
This guy's the villain in everything. Silver-haired fox. That guy has made a deal with the devil, and he sucks up the souls of the innocent so he can live forever.
I will be honest with you, he's pretty much useless throughout the movie. You will see him. He's useless the whole time.
Yes.
It is up there with another one of the, you just got a really old dude who has some fame to be a villain in this film.
Yes, easily dumping your paycheck or dumping the pay for the movie somewhere else. He's serviceable as a person that Eric Draven has to kill by the end of the movie.
That's about it.
He does speak gibberish really well and talk in devil languages.
He is able to put his mouth really close to people's ears. He's very good at that.
Yeah. So you roll into the movie, and of course, Brandon Lee just casts this terrible shadow for good and bad reasons. I think that whenever, like I said, I kept just thinking, if this was in place of the old film from the 90s, would I like it just as much? The answer is yeah. I mean, it's dark and brooding. It does have a very soundtrack. It doesn't have that.
I was going to call that out later on towards the end. I think that soundtrack was horrible for that movie.
Suck though.
God,
you suck though.
It just felt so out of place most of the time for that film.
So in terms of the soundtrack, we get a really slow buildup. The pacing in the movie is very strange in that it's not quite the action spree that the trailers make it out of. Of course, it wouldn't be remarkable if it did, but you get a lot of time with Draven and Shelley.
More than you would expect, honestly.
And more than you need.
Yeah, I would give it that as well. It does seem like it's about 45 minutes of a lot of just like, hey, we're going to be together. We're going to break out of this rehab. We're going to do a lot of drugs. We're going to go on a random trip in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, with our hippie friends and have a good time at the lake. I didn't think the chemistry was bad. I believed that they were damaged people that loved each other. I think early on, whenever she first approaches him and makes some kind of fun jokes and quips, I was like, okay, well, yeah, I believe that they're in love.
Yeah, I don't think it was, close to what people are going to want from like the Brandon Lee movie at all.
Yeah.
Even though it's a lot faster in the original one than it is in this one.
It is. The original one's very fast, and this one is like a really slow build. And he does a lot of more investigative work to figure out who the people are, rather than just immediately start picking them off. There is much more, in the terms of the villains, there's a much more large organization that he's trying to take down, rather than these 6 cronies of a single crime kingpin.
We're talking about like 50 people, like probably a group of 50 by the end of the film.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a little cult-like in how he's a figurehead, this sold himself to the devil kind of man. But once Eric Draven and Shelley are killed, Draven goes to Limbo and meets this kind of middle ground guide of sorts to explain the rules to him. He's in kind of like this ethereal place.
I did like every time they showed this place. I thought it was really cool. So basically, whenever they go to this ethereal place, it's basically almost like an abandoned like train station.
Train yard.
And it has like a bunch of like these, like it's just these weird structures above them as well that kind of go everywhere.
You think you're like under the Brooklyn Bridge or something.
Yeah, they're
and
like
then,
a bunch of metal like poles.
Yeah, but then there's like a million bridges. And it looks really cool.
It does.
Yeah, I thought it looked nice. The imagery, he knew what he was going for, right?
He did, and they nailed that. I will say that every time he goes back there, which they go a lot.
They do go.
There's probably about 4 or 5 scenes to where you go back to this thing.
Once again, there's about 2 trips too many.
Yeah.
It's a long movie.
But every time they do go there, I'm always like, at least it looks cool. So I was pretty happy with that.
They do a lot of good imagery with water, showing that Shelley is drowning in hell. Eric gets pulled back up to the surface. And basically anytime Eric teleports back to the real world as this immortal god who cannot be killed.
He can feel pain.
Yeah, we'll go over the rules in just a second. But every time he goes back to the real world, it's him crashing into water. And my favorite part about the entire movie is it does a really good job of showing wounds. The thing with the crow is he's brought back to serve a purpose. His mortal body can be damaged. He can feel pain, but he is immortal. And man, there's some early stuff that kind of explains these rules. There's a scene where he pushes his own guts back into his stomach.
Yeah, it's the first time that he comes back, which I guess time kind of stops while he's in the other world because he comes back like right after he dies.
Yes.
So he dies, comes back into the world, and then he has this fight with a corrupt cop because, of course, there's a corrupt cop in this movie. This fight is actually kind of cool. Like, it's very like, the thing that I love about this is Eric Draven is not a fighter.
Yes.
It's Eric Draven, right?
Yep, Eric Draven.
Not a fighter, doesn't really know how to use anything. So it is literally like a really sloppy and messy fight. And I thought it was really cool. But he ends up taking a knife to the gut. And after he kills off the cop, you see him like just
his intestines are leaking.
He pushes it in and you see the finger push it back into the hole.
Yes.
And like his back wound starts to heal. And it's really good. Like I'm very, very like...
Turns out Marvel alumni worked on the effects.
Surprising, but I'm so used to CGI to see that it's like, oh, that's kind of practical in there too. So that's really cool looking.
Yeah, it was a great hybrid, and he shows pain really well. Like,
Yeah, he does. Well,
there's,
it's Skarsgård, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
he's a good actor.
Yeah, and I thought, like, again, you get like this kind of Jared Leto vibe from the trailer and how he looks, but like once you're kind of in the movie, you're like, you know, he's not really overacting this shit at all, whether he's being like moody or whether he's in love.
There are some scenes that are very cheesy with him, like his line delivery. There is some that I'm like, oof. I don't know if I necessarily blame you on that, but it is definitely kind of like that didn't
Like
click.
when?
Like any time that he's talking.
I hate
during the beginning. Like,
during the beginning?
His beginning setup and then leading into probably about the third act. There's a lot of it that's just like, man, you just feel so weird.
Give me a scene example so I can.
So a scene example would be, let's see, all the stuff that was at the creek, like how awkward it was there, and then whenever he encounters the guy that killed him, the first dude, whenever he pulls the pistol and he goes, "I killed you."
Oh yeah.
And he's like, Tell me who works with you." The way that he just kind of like whispers through everything, it was just very odd.
Gotcha. I think I'll disagree with you on that
That's
one.
fine.
I thought this version of Eric Draven, obviously they go to a kind of a point to show that he's very demure and cowardly, especially in how they kind of put him through the ringer. He's very avoiding of confrontation. So I think he's trying to push through that, in my opinion. But let's get back to the violence and the action.
Which there's a lot of.
There is a lot of violence. And I think one of my favorite parts about how it's directed is there's the point of impact, and then it shows the violence and what that stab did to the body. Mm-hmm. Or when he's shot, it shows there's no stabs, bullet wounds, or slices that go without their dedicated look at the bodily trauma.
Yeah.
And I knew it would be violent from the trailer because there's a lot of black blood in the trailer, but I appreciated the attention to his pain, taking hits and damage.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not so much that he's a good fighter, it's that he's immune.
Yeah, he just knows that no matter what, I'm not going to die.
Yeah, he just has to tank it,
Yep.
right?
And that's a good way to put this Crow is he's just tanking everything.
Yeah.
There's no style. It's just tank the whole way.
Yeah, not to say that he doesn't do cool stuff.
No, he does, but it is it's almost like accidental that he's doing it in a way too, which I appreciated a lot in the film.
He's more like a wrecking ball rather than like some John Wick surgeon.
Exactly, yeah.
With a gun. And it was really nice. I think pacing wise, the film is at least 30 minutes too long.
I would agree with that.
I think that they do spend a lot of time building the universe and a little bit too much time doing the romance. Because as soon as they kind of leave a rehab center and then spend their first couple of hours together, like one montage, I was like, their chemistry's good enough. I believe it.
Yeah, they built up enough. Like by the time that they escaped the rehab center, I was like, yeah, they're in love.
Yeah.
Even though they'd only known each other for like 4 days, like, yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, great chemistry. And they could have just gone straight to the murder and the turn of the first act there. But there's also a little bit too much kind of investigating. Eric Draven kind of wanders around.
There's a lot of walking, a lot of just
brooding through the streets.
Brooding through it, whether he has a hood on, whether he's in his crow gear, whether he's just searching for somebody, he be walking and following a crow.
Speaking of crow gear, before we get into how the action unfolds, I thought that the wardrobe decisions were really, really, really good because you keep him shirtless so you can see every time he gets shot.
That was something that I was going to bring up. So they show a lot of scar damage in it, and there's a part in the movie to where he gets kicked out of a car and hit by a truck, and it like skids up his face, and you see the scar tissue from that. And I really appreciated it because they don't show that in the trailer at all. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene from the trailer to where you see his face after that point happens, and they don't show the scar.
Yeah, they let the prosthetic of the scar tissue linger because it takes longer to heal, right?
It's really cool.
They have a couple of scenes where he has the scar tissue on him. The action and how it's paced is a little strange because you get maybe 2 small 1 or 2 minute confrontations, a pseudo 2-minute car fight. That's okay.
Man, it was. Yeah, it might have been even shorter than that. It's really fast.
Yeah, it's very fast, but you understand the rules and how he takes damage really quick, and it all builds to this very large, really good action scene.
It is very good.
Which is mostly what you see from the trailers. It's in an opera house. You get some cool operatic music while he's killing a lot of folks.
I would say that scene alone at the opera house is enough to just want to go see that film. Like that set piece right there, because it's what, 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's a solid 4 or 5 minutes, and he is just hammering cronies. You've got big operatic music going, and he's got a katana and
whatever else he finds,
and he is just working people. The guy next to me at one kill, particularly with some mouth slicing, was like, oh, I heard him audibly give, is an older guy.
Yeah.
He was like very approving.
Really good looking effect too on that too, whenever the jaw with the sword. It's really, really good.
Really creative choreography, and again, he's just wrecking balling it. And at no point ever, he's got like a short katana. Never do I think he's really over. Eric Draven would not know how to use a sword. No, it's just a guy being like, God.
He's using a sword like a machete.
Yeah.
Like he's basically, imagine somebody's going through like thick vines with a machete, and that's what he's doing with this katana.
He's just tearing
people
up.
And all these henchmen are all the vines he's trying to get rid of.
Yep.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it's really well done. And unfortunately, that's like the big crescendo action scene, and it really is, while it is like a reason to watch the movie, I think that I was really hoping for some kind of big battle between your immortal devil guy and Eric Draven.
Which they kind of like, they bring up the devil side of him like one time in the film, and then it's just kind of like, it's there, but it's not really like, they don't really dig deeper into it, which I was hoping they would. Like,
yeah, he does talk a couple of people.
Go for it.
Don't cut that out of the edit.
I won't. Yeah, he does, like, he talks to them and he calls them to kill themselves, but I was expecting them to kind of like dig deeper into it and be like, he does that so he can become more powerful, or so he can like turn into something bigger by the end of the film.
Yes, and maybe like it would have built to a worse form that Eric has to fight. But instead, it's just he has to make deposits into his immortality account to the devil, unfortunately.
So are we at the scene to where he finds him? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, so it kind of wraps in the third act after the opera house. The opera house has an awesome ending.
It does. Like, and you know, I don't want to spoil that.
Yeah, we won't.
I would like for people to see it. But the scene after that, whenever you get to the villain's house, it is so funny to me that the first scene that you see of the villain is combing his hair.
Yeah.
Just brushing his hair back. And I'm just like, man, I wish he would have been like sitting by the fire, like drinking something and like, hello.
Like getting
really giving something to you to be like, oh, this son of a.
But instead he's getting ready for bed.
Yeah, he's just getting ready to take a nap.
And so he knows Eric Draven is coming because Eric's wasted everybody. Yeah. And you really are just hoping for exactly what Grayson said, like, I've had this plan for you all along, right? But no, man, it's just kind of fizzles out. They do some kind of, I'm not going to spoil it, but they do some kind of like love conquers all thing, not going to fall for your shit. And the movie just kind of ends.
Yep.
And I don't know, it reminded me a lot of how Possession films dropped the third act.
Yeah, I can feel that.
It's like Possession films can't buckle or can't hold up under the weight of all the supernatural shit going on, right? And neither could The Crow. And so it gives you, I mean, it honestly breaks its own rules according to what I thought was supposed to happen to Eric at the end of the movie. And then you get a nice cut to black, and I'm pretty sure it's Imagine Dragons at the end. So that should tell you everything you should know about how it felt about the ending there.
I did have a question about that, and I wanted to just see if it was just me or if you caught on to it too. So the whole reason why he's immortal is because he loves her, right?
Yes.
And it's to get vengeance.
Well, not vengeance, but to set things right. Bring balance.
Yeah. So in the movie, whenever he gets shot and all that stuff has happened. You find out why she's running from everything. And the guy is like, you don't love her anymore. And he's like, no, I was just questioning it.
Yes.
And then he makes the sacrifice to go and save her.
Yes, and the guy who has the roles who says, okay, I'll send you back this one time, but you're going to go to hell instead of her when you save her.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't happen at the end of the movie, even though...
But the thing that I was getting at is, at no point in time in that movie did I ever think he stopped loving her. Like, I never... Like, he questioned what he saw in the video, but... I think anybody would.
Yeah, there is a line that says doubt is the killer of love. And he did doubt her.
I guess.
So I understood what they were going for. But yeah, he wasn't.
But there wasn't enough time. I think that was the issue that I had, is they didn't give it enough time for him to have doubt. He literally sees that.
Cries.
And the next scene, it's like, hey, you're back here. You doubted her. But no, I'll sacrifice myself for her. Which... You never stopped loving her. Like, I get what you mean, but I think it was just.
No, I'm just saying they say he's going to go to hell at the end, and he should be burning in hell at the end, but he's not burning in hell at the end.
No, dog, but he ain't going up there, so that's his own hell. Art.
It's rough, but
Art.
I don't know. I think that whenever we went to see The Crow, and number one, people are going to say it's not a horror movie. This is a supernatural movie about a walking zombie, and there's a lot of carnage.
With a guy who can cause people to become possessed and kill themselves so that their souls go to hell.
Yes.
That is 100% horror.
Yes, this is horror. But we went to the movie to make a quick review that had an easy thumbnail and an easy title, and we could make fun of it the way we make fun of Morbius.
Yep.
Or the way people make fun of Borderlands.
Yes.
And instead... I'm slapping a big fat 6 on the hoe and saying you should probably watch it if it's on Netflix or something, and then calling it a day.
Yeah, I've been struggling with what I'd give it, but I think I'm pretty on par with you. I think I would give it a 6 as well. Am I mad that I watched it? No.
No.
Not at all. Do I think it's better than the original? No. But I think that if we had seen it when we saw the original, we'd probably have the same feelings towards it. I'll be honest, I didn't even mind the way you looked.
No, I didn't.
When he put on the makeup and stuff, I was like, you know what? It's not bad. And I understand that I'm probably gonna get flack for that, but for its own original idea, I was like, I get where you're going with this.
I think my argument stands. It's like you can't be mad at his makeup and then think that Brandon Lee's makeup is like there's a scene where he puts on his makeup. It's like that's when I realized I was like, I can't make fun of this one and not make fun of the old one. Because it's the same shit. It's just I'm older and edgelords are memey now. So, but yeah, I think worth seeing.
I would never watch it again. I will say that. I'll watch the action scene.
I will, yes.
I will watch the action scene. Will I ever watch that movie again? No.
Yes, I think that's the perfect way. It is. I will YouTube the Opera House.
Yep.
I will never watch the movie again.
I'll probably YouTube the car part too.
Yeah, it's a good hit.
Just for the hit with the truck. Like it's.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that, and I'll YouTube all of the gory parts of it too, because it just looked really good.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do my quick rundown, quick hits. Good moodiness.
Okay. Yeah.
Good edgelordiness.
I agree with that.
Good knowledge of what the director knew what he was doing when he had a vision for the dream world.
I'll give you that. Yeah,
okay.
I get that.
Great violence.
Yeah.
And good kills.
Yeah.
And the Opera House scene will be an all-timer YouTube scene watch.
Yeah, I give you that too. Yeah.
The rest is
the rest is like this.
Yeah.
You know?
Give me your 4 fingers.
What I like?
Those are my 4 fingers. What are your 4 fingers?
I mean, I agree with
We're
a lot
building
of
channel culture right now.
So my 4 fingers of what I really appreciate. It doesn't hold back. Like whenever they want you to see the violence, they give it to you and they give you everything you want from it. I really dug the way he looked at the end of the film. I had a lot of fun with that. Dream World slamming. So yeah, pretty sure it's all of us. Also, I kind of dug the car he was in at the end of the movie too.
Oh yeah, it's not a Lamborghini.
It's like a Lambo mixed with a DeLorean.
It looks like a Countach. I know what it is, but it is a car reserved for the ultra rich. You dug that car.
I did dug that car, but I'll tell you what my other one was. I appreciate the
You
fact...
going to the thumb.
No, I'm going to replace the car.
Okay.
I appreciate the fact that they were able to pull off a dude walking in with the katana and not make it cheesy.
But yeah, go check out The Crow if it's on streaming, or if you really like the original and you want to test yourself.
Or, you know, like a Tuesday. Usually you get like really cheap tickets on Tuesday. Go see it on a Tuesday.
Or if you got a goth girlfriend.
Amen, brother.
You can go check out our Alien Romulus spoiler cast.
There we go.
For the entire breakdown of the Alien Romulus film, and enjoy that. Go take a look. Have a great day.
Goodbye.